Maloney. Thank you for joining me today. Karen Maloney from Mooncat Magic, here to talk to us about all things magic, art, and Karen. So, yeah, thanks ever so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure.
Brilliant, brilliant. That's great. So, yeah, I really wanted to just chat with you today about kind of things that have caught my eye around what you're up to in terms of your witchcraft, the way you live your craft and your practice, and your artwork as well. You do some wonderful artwork that I've seen. So, yeah, fill us in a bit about what you've been up to and what you're doing with yourself.
Oh my goodness, I do
Big
so
question.
much. I do so much. I don't know where to start. I suppose I can. Well, I started off witchcraft. Don't worry, I'm not going to give you a whole life story.
That's
I
all right.
been into like anything like plants and things like that when I was a very young child, and then as I got to like early teens, then I became really interested in witchcraft, despite having a quite a strict Catholic background.
Oh,
But
interesting.
I think that's quite common in the craft, to be honest. I
Mm.
think people either go one way or the other. So yeah, I kind of moved on there, specialised eventually in like botanicals, particularly the poison path.
Oh,
Yeah, I really enjoy working with plant spirits and especially the poisonous herbs, but
oh,
nothing sort of like untoward or anything like that.
no.
I think they've just got a really amazing energy. And I think well, I find it's absolutely amazing how plants can, on the one hand, have the potential to kill you, but on the other hand, the same plant can heal as
Mm.
well. That's what I kind of work with a lot. I started off in Wicca, like a lot of people do,
Mm.
of my age anyway, because there wasn't very much, um, not information about any other forms of craft really, and that was too much of a dogma for my liking, for my personal thing. I've got lots of Wiccan friends, and absolutely, each to their own, isn't it? I don't like. I'm too much of a free spirit. I don't
Yeah.
like too many
Too
rules.
too much religion for yeah.
Yeah,
You don't want to
yeah.
kind of hop from one religion to another. Is I think for me, paganism and witchcraft has always been about my personal path and not being restricted and being having my own finding my own liberation. And I think religion can sort of pack a lot around that, can't it?
Oh, yeah. It certainly has its place for some people, but clearly not for us. So yeah, I flitted into a bit more sort of eclectic witchcraft. So I'm actually a hedge witch. So
Okay.
I don't know if you know anything about hedge witchcraft.
A
That's
bit, yeah, yeah, but yeah, to fill us in. That's what I'm here to talk to you. Let's find out. Let's dig a bit deeper. Tell us about what a
um,
hedge witch is.
oh, so a lot of people think hedge witchcraft is like synonymous with green witchcraft, and it's not at all. It's quite different. Yeah, we both work with botanicals on a very deep spiritual level, but with hedge witchcraft, I deal with like I practice herbal medicine as well as magical herbalism, and I also work within different realms as well. So I do a lot of trance work, a lot of astral projection, lucid dreaming, that sort of like type of thing. And I think that's where I get my a lot of inspiration for my art as well, is in the different realms. As crazy as that might sound to some people.
No, it's not at all. And I think, yeah, that's why I kind of felt quite drawn to you because I get that as well. So yeah, it's really interesting to hear somebody else speak about it. Yeah.
I think we often do it as children, don't we? We astral. I know my youngest daughter definitely used to. I used to, when she was about 3, so she did, she'd been brought up in a witchy background, but I never sort of like, sort of instilled it into them too much. I used to say, "Oh, did you have a nice little sleep, darling?" And she'd be like, "No, I've been flying all night," and things like, and I'd be like, "Oh, yes, it's a
Yeah,
little witch in the making." um,
definitely.
so I think we do that as children, but now, well, for years I've done, yeah, I do a lot of trance work, and in our workshops that we do a lot of trance work with that as well. So
Okay.
basically, what I do is I'm a working hedge witch. I work part time in a shop. I live a magical life, basically, which is just, I'm blessed to have that. I think I came out of the broom closet completely about 5 years ago. My close friends and family knew Now I just don't care. Like, I just think embrace it.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that's something to do with kind of a phase in life? I know for myself, I'm definitely feeling like turning corners are happening now, kind of perimenopausal, and that kind of phase of life is on the horizon. I definitely think we change, don't we? I think we drop a lot when we sort of reach this age.
We certainly do, don't we? And it's
Yeah.
this is why I do work with women a lot. I have a women's circle as well, and this is what I want to say. Because I see so many people, especially with like Instagram, social media in general. It's still like people got filters and stuff like that, and that's absolutely fine. But it's okay to like get a bit older and embrace those wrinkles and things and funny you should say about perimenopausal as well, because I'm way past that because I'm significantly older than you. I had cancer a few years ago, quite a serious breast cancer, and I didn't think it was a grade 3 stage 3, so I didn't think I was going to make it.
Wow.
And with that particular chemotherapy, one of the chemotherapies, it forced me into the menopause.
Oh, okay.
Immediately. So on the one hand, yeah, great, I survived. I'm really thankful for that. But also, I was kind of forced into the menopause because I was so sick, I didn't even notice. So at least that's all out of the way.
Yeah.
But I think it was a big change in my life, a whole lot of it, all of a sudden. I survived, and I've gone into my crone years already. And I think that's when I just truly embraced it. And like you just said, you don't care, you just be yourself, don't you?
Yeah, there's definitely been a change in my psyche, I think, as I've started. I mean, I've got grandchildren now, and as I'm kind of
grandma, you don't look like a grandma.
Yeah, so thank you. Yeah, well, what is a grandma? This is what I think.
Yeah.
They keep me young, but I'm definitely realizing that as the generations are moving and shifting, and as I'm growing, I'm just letting go of so much worry about what other people think, and there's a real kind of affirmation in me that's growing that this is who I am, and I'm going to do what I want to do for me. And I don't think I had that in years gone by, raising children and up until this point. And yeah, you were talking about coming out of the broom cupboard. It's that real sense of this is who I am, and it's okay now. There's that change that happens within us. It's quite wonderful. Yeah,
it is quite liberating, isn't it? And we do spend. I've always been a very, very shy person, and even though in my teenage years I was very like gothic punk, like a lot of us were. And at that age, I thought, oh, I don't care what people think, but obviously you do, don't you?
Yeah.
And what I did when I was poorly, I wrote a whole. When I realized when I was coming out of it, I wrote a whole list of basically my hang-ups, and I thought, right, I'm going to do shadow work through every single one of my hang-ups and just tick them off as
yeah.
And obviously, I think we probably go to our graves with like hang-ups of some sort, but I'm slowly but surely reducing those and reducing my stress levels as well. I think that it goes hand in hand. So yeah, I'm living the life now.
Yeah. I think we put a lot of energy. We put an awful lot of energy into keeping ourselves restricted, don't we? I think I've realized that how much energy we use up holding ourselves down and fighting ourselves from coming up and shining. It's exhausting, and we're not aware of it a lot of the time.
And it's such a shame, isn't it? And yeah, so many people just hold themselves back because of the fear of what other people are going to say or what they think and everything. When really, people aren't looking at you all the time, thinking, "Oh, what a weirdo" or anything like that. They just get on with their own lives, and they probably think the same about themselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
The other day, for instance, I've just moved to the countryside, which is absolutely beautiful. There's a pond right next to my house, which I'm drawn to. I go there like nearly every morning, it's literally across the road. And one of the locals said to me, "Oh, I saw you by the pond, peering into the pond. What were you looking at?" I don't know, really.
Just the pond,
And then I was wondering if there was any problems in there, to be honest. And I told her this, and she was like, "Yeah, okay." Then it just went on her merry way. But years ago, I would have been very embarrassed, and I just wouldn't have done things like that. And now I think you need to find that child within you as well, don't you? No matter what age you are, and just don't be afraid to express yourself. I think.
Yeah, find rediscover the dreamer. I think that's what it's been for me. It's that sense of rediscovering that the dreamer in me that wouldn't have had time, energy, or inclination to to do that, a few years back. But yeah, so what was so coming out of the I like that term, coming out of the broom cupboard, broom closet, yeah. So people around you, how have they responded to that? And is there anybody that's really kind of taken a back step? And
well, yeah, and my sister, like totally the opposite to me. She says herself a born again Christian.
Okay.
And like I said, so it's absolutely fine if that's what you're into and everything. But she doesn't speak to me at all now, and she hasn't done for about 3 years, which is really sad.
That is, yeah.
Yeah. But I think the person I thought, but everybody else is absolutely fine. The person I thought was going to be find it difficult was my dad, even though he's always known that I've been a bit sort of like, I don't know, out there, I suppose.
Yeah.
But he's really supportive of it now in his own sort of like way. He really encourages my art, definitely. He was a great inspiration for me. But with the witchcraft, he now, oh God, I hope he doesn't watch this. He now has Facebook, and I think I'm one of 4 friends of his. He's like nearly 81, bless him. And every now and again he'll phone me up and he says, "Oh, I've seen your posts. It looks like you're going on the dark side, Karen."
Oh, really?
but then in the next, he bought me some Hedgewitch oracle cards a couple of months ago, which is really nice. So yeah, he's really encouraged it. But yeah, pretty much everybody else is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been like normal in people's eyes anyway, So
yeah. I mean, what do you? I find this an interesting subject to talk about. Society's view of witchcraft, because I think what are your thoughts around that? I mean, I think there's a lot of fear around it, isn't there? I get that a lot. There's a lot of fear and apprehension, and people aren't sure. I think there's more of it on the internet, so people are getting a bit more exposure to it. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's totally different from when I was a young girl. You wouldn't tell anybody that sort of thing, really. And to be honest, it blows my mind how people can still, the craft can be still so misunderstood. So for instance, I've just moved to this small village. I think there's about 300 people here, and it's gorgeous, and they're proper locals, and I don't drive anymore since I was 6, so I get the bus. But it's a beautiful walk up the country lane. It's tiny, so everybody knows everybody. And so I'm swooping down there because I work in a witchy shop, and I look like I do always, but it was cold, so I had my cloaky, not a full-blown cloak, but a cloaky coat sort of thing, blowing in the wind. And somebody was backing out of their garden with their dog, and they turned around and went, "Oh, you look nice." And I was like, "Oh," it obviously disturbed her a little bit. So I think people still recoil away from it. But I most certainly don't go around to strangers saying, "Oh, I'm a witch" or anything like that, because you still don't know. It's much more accepted, but I think people just don't understand it. They either, I don't know, they just think that it's. I'm writing about Baba Yaga at the moment. Do you know anything about
fabulous? Her? Yeah, the Slavic crone. Yeah. So what are you writing, a book or?
No. We've got a workshop at the end of this month, I think it is. And I was writing about her, and she originally started off as this like perceived as a beautiful sort of like maiden goddess, and it's only when patriarchy sort of like kind of stepped in, because she's been around for millennia, when patriarchy like kind of stepped in and took over, that's when she became the haggard old sort of crony witch, and just her dark side, because as you know, she's like a dual goddess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Archetype. Yeah, there's that kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, but I think things like that, and then um, films and things, especially, give witchcraft a bit of a bad rap, to say the least.
Yeah.
Um, there's not many films, stories, or anything like that where the witch is the goody,
No.
is it? Like,
No.
uh,
Unless you're watching Tolkien or reading Tolkien, maybe we've got some
yeah,
some evidence of the power of the power for the good. Yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah,
there's that real sense of I think the power in the light magic as well comes through for me anyway.
yeah.
But
Or people say sometimes, but are you a white witch? And but if you said yes, I'm a white witch, they think, oh, well, that's not too bad.
yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it's still a lot of people get, you. I know we've got a coven as well, and we run these like large workshops, and a lot of people are still in the broom closet for that. You know, I know a good friend of ours are a psychotherapist, and he says that it would ruin his career
Oh,
and business,
interesting.
um, if anybody found out. And I think that's really sad, um, because you can't be yourself completely,
Yeah. That society still
Yeah.
really holds those views
Yeah.
and
And I know an accountant who's exactly the same as well, just ruin his business. So,
I think it speaks a lot though for the power, the innate power that we all have. I think from a psychological perspective, it feels people it resonates with people. I think on a deep level, they know there's something in them that must understand that there's power within all of us. And I suppose if it's a power that they're faced with that they don't understand, they instinctively know that this is real, but they're frightened of it because they don't understand it. And I think that's probably, and that's the dark, that's the shadow, isn't it? So there's a lot of fear around it, but it just shows that how innately powerful we all are, that if we have any kind of reaction to it, it's got to be real, isn't it? There's got to be something resonating inside.
Absolutely, yeah. And like you say, you're quite right. We've all human beings have got this power. It is innate in us, and it's just such a shame that people are fearful of it still. When really my day-to-day life, I live in my life as a witch. It's just normal. For me, my main is like tracking down to the pond to see the moorhens down there and looking for frogs and things, or making medicines. Because then these people who are still frown upon it, they'll still come and ask you for a tincture for this, that, or the other, or some special tea and stuff, like, which I'm happy to do more.
They dip their toe in, don't they?
Yeah.
And that's as far as they're happy to go. I suppose people have to work at their own pace, don't they? It's I've always been just fascinated by our power as human beings and what we can do, and I think that's what first drew me to Nate. I suppose it's more nature magic, really, realizing that we are the same force that's running through nature, and that connection and that kind of woke me up to practice, to these practices. What do you think it was for you? What is it that what sort of connection did you make? Was there an aha moment where you realized your power to create, to make, to heal, to whatever it is that you do?
I think I think as a child I was incredibly shy and quiet as a child, but I always found like solace in nature. We were brought up in Germany, and one of our houses was like right next to this big forest. So I just used to go toddling on in there, and I just had a real affinity with anything to do with nature, plants and animals, and believe it or not, I joined the army when I was 17. You'd never believe it, would you?
That's quite a contrast to your current lifestyle, isn't it?
Oh my God, if they could see me now. I only did that as an act of rebellion, because my dad was in there for 22 years, and he always said that, oh, you'd never be able to hack the training. So I thought, oh, I'll go and show him that I could do it. So I didn't last long in there. It was just not my cup of tea. But that was a bit of a moment, an aha moment, because I was 17. I was literally away with the fairies,
Yeah.
And so we were showing these films on nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare,
Oh,
and it just like completely blew me. Like, I just couldn't believe that people were doing this sort of thing. And also, I belonged to Greenpeace at the time, and they told me that I had to come out of Greenpeace if I was going to be in the army and things like that. So I just did my training basically, and then came out. But that was a moment where I just thought, I don't want to be constricted or restricted. I just want to be myself, So yeah, bit of a weird couple of years that was.
Yeah, that was quite a life experience though.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Just to show you that this is what you don't want. I suppose sometimes we do that, don't we? We do something just to read that, just so that we know we don't want to do it.
Oh my goodness! When I turned up, they must have thought, "Good God!" They'd probably never seen a soldier like it before. Go get your hair.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, an experience. So yeah, that was a bit of an aha moment. And then, but apart from that, I just kind of always just had a connection with like nature, and I've also had very vivid dreams, prophetic dreams.
Yes.
I think I got into divination at a very young age as well,
Yeah.
and I realised then, I thought, wow, this actually isn't just off films, it actually works.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, dreams are powerful, and I think that there's not enough emphasis on dream study and dream focus in the human psyche personally. But yeah, they can be so. Did you dream journal? Have you ever done anything like that?
I journal all the time.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And it's interesting when you look back, isn't it? Sometimes
Yeah.
what you think is just like some crazy dream all mixed up, and then you can see symbols and things like that in it. I find that happens a lot.
Yeah.
And occasionally you do get prophetic dreams, things that you can't dispute it.
No.
I remember years ago when I was about 19, I think it was. I was with my boyfriend, and I was like, wake up, I've had this dream. I'm one of these people, got to tell somebody about their dreams. I said, I had this dream about this place, blah, 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 blah. And I'm glad I told him, because he basically was like, shut up and go back to sleep. I'm not, because it was a boring dream. But then about a month later, we actually went into this place, and it was exactly how I described it. And even he was like, oh my goodness, how weird is that?
Yeah, it does happen. I had one a couple of years ago that stays with me because it was so powerful. With my partner, I told him that I'd had a dream that he was catching a mouse in the house and running around the house, and he'd let it out the back door, and this mouse was white, and oh yeah, it was just a dream. Okay. But then the next night we didn't have a problem with mice or anything. Never had mice in the house. He was downstairs for a good while, came up, and he was filming. There was a mouse in the living room, and he was chasing it out, and he had to let it out the back door, because there was a reason he had to let it out the back door. I can't remember what the reason was. But I said, yeah, there you go. He recorded it because he couldn't believe that it was happening, that I'd had the dream the night before,
That's so weird, isn't it?
It's just really, bizarre. Why would I always question, why do I get these useless pieces of information? I mean, what significance was that?
I was going to say that, because on films, people who have these prophetic dreams, they're dreaming about some sort of massive disaster or something, dreaming about a mouse.
I'm dreaming about a mouse in the house. It's not. It wasn't a coincidence. It was the day before. The night before, and as I say, if we had a common mouse issue, then you'd understand. But we never had one. So strange.
Yeah, how bizarre. Yeah, it's something I really enjoy. That, and I like. I have a notepad by the side of my bed, and I just quickly write stuff down. And sometimes it's weird because it's almost like, well, it is automatic writing, I suppose, because I don't even remember writing all this raw.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't even make sense when you first look at it. And then when you take your time, yeah, you can see again symbols and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So with your artwork then, do you, I mean, you do, I've seen a couple of your pieces that you've put up on socials. Do you tend to draw inspiration from dreams for your artwork? Where's your inspiration come from there?
I think maybe it is maybe they're dreams that I don't remember because I always wake up and I'm just like, oh, I've got this amazing idea, like, and I need to do it
Yeah,
immediately.
yeah,
And when I had a full-time job, it was a problem because I'd be like, oh God, now I've got to go to work and I'm
yeah,
feeling too creative.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting question actually. I went to art school years ago,
Okay.
and I used to feel like a little bit of a fraud sometimes, like because I suppose because I've always been a bit into trance work, but without actually, as soon as people, you ask my friends, as soon as people to stop talking to me, I'm off.
Yeah,
you know, it was
somewhere else.
yeah, it was always in my school report as well. So that happens when I'm painting. I only mostly do charcoals now, but in at school, at art school, I used to do a lot of oil paints. So I was doing this great big oil painting of, Atlas with the world on his shoulders.
Yes, yeah.
So I wanted to do like an emaciated Atlas with like a withered old dying earth, very
Oh,
dramatic.
interesting. Yes, very dramatic. Yeah.
And that was one of those occasions, I just woke up and thought, this is what I want to do. It was a huge painting that I did, but I don't remember really doing half of it because it was just, and then I don't know, it's like you're channeling, I suppose, almost.
Mm,
And so yeah, I do that now when I'm painting. I just go into sort of like some sort of trance mode, so I feel
yeah,
it comes from somewhere else, really.
that's fascinating. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
I'm not one of these people who like to sort of, I do a quick sketch of what I want, but then when I settle down to it, it just kind of overtakes me. And then,
I love to hear stories about people that are able to do that because there's a certain letting go that happens because I know a lot of artists and I do a bit of painting myself, but I know that there's a lot of struggle and a lot of blocks when it comes to art, creating art in a lot of people, and to have the ability to just sit down and let it channel and come through, that must feel so liberating and so good.
I
I'd love
do
to have that.
it. Well, just get into trance work, and I think it will probably come. I think you do it again. You do things like that as a child automatically. And the
Yes.
only trouble is though, because I sort of come out of it and all my toes are scrunched up and I've got a dead legs,
Oh, okay.
hunched over everything. I've been there for hours. But
Yeah.
yeah, I find it very cathartic as
Okay.
well.
Yeah. So can you tell me a bit about the trance work that you're talking about? What does that look like, and what is it? Ceremony? What does that look like for you?
Well, that's like automatic transfer. I don't really control it there.
Right.
Trance work that I do
Mm,
as a practice,
mm,
um, I go in. I do that for asking questions, like a form of divination.
mm-hmm.
I connect with plant spirits, botanical spirits and mushrooms and things like that
Yeah.
in general. Animals. Not so much ancestors, really. A lot of people work with ancestors, don't they? But I kind of tend to stay with the plant kingdom.
Yeah, 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 they do. A lot of people work with ancestors. I've never connected with the ancestor energy, and that's something that I'm sort of querying at the moment myself. Why and what's going on there? Time of life, maybe transformation, rebirthing, that kind of stuff. I think that's making me sort of question what's happening. And maybe we don't have to connect with the ancestors, but it's just some question marks I've got. So that, yeah, it's interesting that it's come
Yeah,
up.
I'm thinking it's like people saying at the moment as well. That I get like quite happily with plant spirits and things like that. So yeah, I go on like little journeys. It's the same with astral projection and
Mm,
things like that. I like to do that very much.
Yeah.
You know, I always start off with like a little spot, and then I go down swirling, swirling, swirling.
Do
And
you
some
use music or drumming, or how do you set it up? Is it a
um,
drum that you work with, or?
I do now. I never
Uh,
used to. Um, because I don't know, I'm very judgmental of me, but I just used to see these drumming circles when I was younger, you know, with all the tie-dye
yeah.
people and things like that. People, you know, that's not going to be
Yeah.
a cool, like, you know. And then
Yeah.
I got into shamanic drumming,
Oh
and I
yeah.
absolutely love it. You can get into trance almost immediately
Mm.
with something like that. But if you know, if I don't want to sort of wake the neighbours or anything like that, I'm not like
Mm.
whacking the drum in the middle of the
Yeah,
night.
yeah, yeah.
I just close my eyes and just do. I've done this for so many years. It's just automatic.
Oh, okay.
Which I just enjoy the drumming beat. What was really interesting is, you know, when I was poorly, I also went through MRI scans.
Oh yeah.
Um, it's a bit intimidating going into something like that, but I thought, right, well, have you ever had one?
No, no.
It's really, really loud, bang, 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 like,
Oh,
you know, even with headphones on. So I was in there, and so I've had a few of these, and every single time I go into trance,
oh,
like this,
okay. Wow. Yeah,
like
yeah.
banging. So it must be like a pitch of noise or something like that. I think, you know, but yeah, trying not to go into trance. Like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I do a lot of drumming nowadays, and but you know, even if I go and sit by the pond, I just go into trance naturally.
Yeah.
So um,
Yeah, something that I've done journey work, but I'm not sure that's quite trance work. It feels like maybe it's not as deep. I suppose it just depends how deep the journey goes, doesn't it?
yeah, I think it can be considered like a type of trance.
Mm,
I take people into trance work, um, like it, which is really kind of like a yeah a journey, incredibly deep meditation,
mm.
and I like doing that with people. So obviously, I wouldn't go into trance myself,
Oh, you
but
just hold the space for them.
yeah. So we do this at the shop, Cauldron Creations, and Hannah, who owns the shop, she does the drumming, and then I lead
Oh,
everybody.
fascinating. Oh, if I was nearer, I'd come down and see
Oh,
you. I'm nowhere
oh,
near you.
yeah, I thoroughly enjoy that, and I think people find it really deeply relaxing and
Mm,
take them on like different journeys. I work with Hecate.
okay.
Actually, not so much since I moved here because there's a big fae energy around these parts. But you know,
Okay.
these like journeys that we do through and transport through Hecate's cave and garden and things like
Oh,
that. Really,
fascinating. Yeah. So you work out of the shop and you offer workshops and you're selling your artwork there now, are you as well?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I've only just
the shop's
sorry.
in it's Gloucestershire, isn't it? The shop.
Yeah, it's a beautiful. I know I say because I work there and everything, but oh my goodness, it's such a lovely, lovely shop. We sell all sorts of witchy stuff, and it's right next to Gloucester Cathedral.
Yeah, I know it well actually. I know the area well. I was born in Gloucester.
Right,
Yeah, yeah, I lived there for a few years and yeah, I've been back a lot since. So I know the town centre and I think I know where the shop is. It's a Beatrix Potter shop down there as well.
like directly opposite Beatrice
Yeah,
Potter. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's in a really nice little alleyway
Mm,
because it's lovely going through there to the cathedral, isn't it?
yeah, it is. It's
Um,
beautiful.
yeah, and it's been really popular as well. It's just been open just over a year.
Okay.
And, yeah, it gets really busy in there. We've got these little black cat baskets, and all like the local witches come around get their baskets and they do their shopping, and it's just like really adorable.
Sounds lovely.
Tesco's or something.
So have you got quite a community then of people that are practicing
Yeah,
alongside you around the area?
yeah, we do, and that's what one of our like missions were was
Mm,
to bring people together, make it the norm, witchcraft, educate people, and
education.
yeah, and bring people together into a community. And
Yeah.
we've done that. So with these workshops and things that we do, we have well, generally big workshops are about 14 people at the most, but
Mm,
we've got the same people come in every month plus new ones, and it's just such a lovely, vibrant community. It's so nice.
that's
But
fantastic.
yeah, pardon?
That's fantastic, isn't it, that you can
Oh
bring
yeah,
the people together.
it just warms your heart, honestly. It really does.
Yeah, yeah, because we're few and far between, I think, definitely this trying to
Mm,
find sort of souls to connect with this kind of work. It's yeah, it's not easy, is it, in your mainstream, in the office, and
no.
people are at work, and
Mm. Oh,
yeah,
all sorts of people come in, people who are, you know, solicitors and things like that, and they're curious about
just
it.
want to have a little poke around the shop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some people wander in by mistake,
yeah.
and I don't know.
And they go, oh, it is interesting because I read tarot. I've read tarot for a number of years, and it's that feeling of people are so they're really curious, aren't they? They're so curious, but there's that apprehension. Yeah,
Yes,
and
yeah.
you pull a tarot deck out, and everybody's interested. It doesn't matter who you are.
Right. No, you're right there with tarot. It's really true, that, isn't it?
Yeah, so
But yeah, we
there's
get lots of curious people. But I had a little girl in a few weeks ago, and with a very reluctant dad,
oh
and he didn't want to be there. You could tell, but she was this wild-haired, like little. I think she was about 9, I think it was. And she came in. She goes, "Oh, you a real witch?" And I was like, "Oh yeah," intimidated by this kid.
yeah.
And, she goes, "Well, I make potions and stuff." Anyway, to cut
Oh
a long story short, she wanted to know how to do spells. So I spent ages and I was telling her how to do kiddies type spells,
yeah, yeah.
spell bottles and everything like that. And then apparently I wasn't in this day, but she came in with a rucksack full of like spell bottles and potions to show me, and a
Oh,
little spell book she'd made, and was showing my colleague. It was just like so
that's
cute.
lovely. That's lovely. Yeah, yeah, definitely. All those little sort of yeah, little ones that are connected to themselves still,
Yeah.
and following that path really, and that they're able to. That's the magic, isn't it? That they're
That's
able to.
Well, I've met her dad, and yeah, her mum came in one day now as well. This was a couple of weeks ago, and neither of those are really into it at all, but they're really supporting that little girl, and I think that's really, really
Yeah,
special, isn't it?
yeah, definitely,
I did
absolutely.
a children's party a couple of months ago for a load of 9-year-olds. Oh my goodness me, an hour and a half I did
Oh
at
wow.
this kids' party. I was exhausted afterwards.
What were
But
you doing as what? What,
um,
hosting one?
yes, yeah.
Ah,
So I got them to make wands, and I'd make
oh,
this cauldron, like you might have seen it on Instagram, with the fluid coming out of the test tube going in.
oh no, okay,
Oh,
right.
it's on my Instagram reels anyway.
Yeah,
But yeah, we had a brilliant time. I got them making potions and stuff like that. Yeah, that was
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think, well, the films, the Harry Potter films, I suppose, of there's a reason they had such an impact, isn't there? I mean, and such a bit. It really does. There's something about it that really speaks to us.
yeah.
It really does, and connect people. People are just. As I was saying earlier, I think that we innately know our power, and
Mm,
however we dress it up on the outside, um, it's there, isn't it? It really is, and that connection to nature, I think that's special for me with my practice and lots of other people's practice is where the power and the magic is. And there's a thread through all of the, I suppose, if you look at all of the yeah the books, the films, anything that portrays witchcraft or paganism, there's always that nature vein
yeah.
that runs through it,
Oh,
isn't there?
yeah, most certainly. There really is, isn't there? And
Mm.
there's more films like that coming out nowadays as well. And I think they are changing a little bit.
Mm.
When I was writing about Baba Yaga yesterday, um, you realise that there's this like storyline through all like fairy tales and mythology, and they're all very, very similar, aren't they?
Mm.
All our Disney films nowadays all come from some sort
Yeah,
of
yeah,
mythology.
absolutely. Yeah, versions of, threads of, but yeah, all very nature based. There's always a woodlands involved and
Yeah,
animals and
yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel like Snow White here sometimes.
I bet you do. Yeah.
Actually, thinking about that stories, have you read Women Who Run with Wolves?
Yes, I know of the book. I've got it. I dip in and out of it. I've never read it all the way through, but it's one that I dip in and out of with the
I think
short,
that's
the
what
short.
it is. That is,
Yeah,
I think everybody should read that book.
definitely. Yeah, yeah.
It's so, so good.
Yeah, it's a wonderful concept, isn't it? This kind of, yeah, this idea that we are part of nature and the animal kingdom. And I think it runs through a lot of traditions, a lot of not necessarily religions, traditions and cultures. And it's something that's, I think it's been overlaid with religion over the years, hasn't it? We've lost that nature animal connection. So you were raised Catholic, you were saying. So so were you strictly Catholic then?
Yeah, at one point, yeah, up until the age of about 10, I think it was, and I really didn't like going to church at all. Like, and then I think eventually my dad just sort of like gave up and was okay then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think because I just didn't understand it at all, and they didn't, our priest didn't explain things properly, and well, it's all ritual as well, isn't it? Just like
Yeah.
say about witchcraft, and they say this is the blood of Christ, this is the body of Christ, eat it and drink it. I would be like, oh my goodness, like this is,
Yeah, it's quite traumatic, really, isn't it? If
yeah,
you
because
think about it.
yeah, as a child, you take things literally, don't
You
you? So
do,
that
yeah.
bothered me. And then I asked the priest, because I didn't want to be a Catholic anymore. So I asked him if I was good and kind all my life, would I still go to heaven? Because that's what I believed at the time. And he was like, no, 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 you'll be damned to hell. And I was like, oh God. So I just thought, well, you know, I
Yeah,
couldn't do it anymore. So,
yeah, it's pretty heavy stuff, isn't it?
uh,
Pretty
yeah,
heavy stuff.
yeah. Um, and, you get Christian witches and things like that
You do,
nowadays.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. There's
I think
crossovers, aren't there?
that's
Yeah.
I think it's just the real hardcore dogma that I couldn't cope with.
Mm. And the
Um,
stories don't like you were saying there, the stories confuse. They used to confuse me, the body of Christ and the blood of Christ. Well,
mm,
this is something that I can't touch, feel, see, and hear. This man, this Christ man, but I can absolutely get down with the body of the earth and the blood of the earth
oh,
because
yeah,
I've got my feet on the ground and I
this is it.
understand. I've got
Yeah,
something that's real
mm,
to work with if I'm working with the earth and I'm living in devotion to my connection with the earth. I can work with that, but I can't work with fictional figures. So,
no,
and I think that's
no,
what religion for me. I understand and respect that if that's where people are, then that's that. But I couldn't. My brain couldn't conceive. Well, it's a fictional figure. I could see it so clearly in my head. But the Earth is not a fictional figure.
it's there, isn't it?
That tree
Um,
is not a fictional figure. I can work with that. Yeah.
this is it. Yeah, so it's like second nature to us, isn't it? Really,
Yeah, it's unquestionable. I think that's what I've never questioned. I've just come to remember almost.
Yeah. I think that's it. It's just remembering, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
And you can't
absolutely.
dispute the feeling that you get when you're out in nature or by the sea or something.
Yeah,
Yeah. I've
water.
done rituals by the sea before, and they're just like the power in that is just incredible.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Which element do you work with mostly? What do you feel? Which is the more dominant, or do you have one?
I think I've been obviously been doing this for like a long, long, long time. But now what I like to do is, I think I was always, I don't know, it depends what sort of mood I'm in. Because even
Yeah.
though I'm an earth sign,
Yes.
I'm very drawn to like fire. You know, I've got like copious amounts of cauldrons in here.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I always like a fire, but then I love the power of the sea and the
Mm,
wind. I love that, so I like more. So now what I tend to do is I like to gather the elements, be immersed into them all,
mm.
and then channel that into an object or a battery or something like that, and then I keep hold of it, and I find that's the most powerful for my workings.
Yeah. 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 Sure. Do you do much astrology?
No,
No.
not
No.
really. No, I'm very basic. How about you?
Yeah. Just a bit over the years. I've studied a bit, and I find it interesting that um, elementally I'm quite kind of love working with the elements, and I think that my birth chart really does lack air,
Yeah.
and I don't really connect with the air element. I've got no interest in it. So,
You know?
yeah, so the earth and the water and the fire I'm all up for, but the air, and I wonder if, yeah, that sort of the elemental imbalance in my chart, whether that needs more work to connect with the air. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't tend to do well with air people either. If they're
No, no,
very airy, I don't do well with them. But
no, 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 no,
so
what you mean.
but yeah, I always find it really fascinating linking all the dots up, Oh, that's probably why, and that astrology is great for that. I love it. It's fun. It's a real fun tool for
I
me.
suppose, yeah, dabble a little bit in it, but I think it's such a complex,
It
massive
is.
subject, isn't it?
It is. It
And
really
I think
is.
you could dedicate your whole life just to learning that alone.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just too much to learn, isn't there? Like,
I know. Yeah, we've got a world of knowledge. We've got a universe of knowledge, and that I kind of I want to know it all.
yes, I know, and you can't, can you?
We
You know,
can't.
I was
No.
gifted a book a couple of years ago on alchemy, and that
Oh,
blew my mind. So I read two books on alchemy and thought, right, this is what I want to do. I'm going to learn all about alchemy. I'm going to meet the philosopher's stone.
brilliant.
But yeah, we don't have enough time for it all.
No, we don't. No, we don't. I suppose so. That's why we have to just follow the signs and whatever's put in front of us. That's we pick it up and run with that, don't we? Is that
Yeah,
how you work?
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah,
going back to the elements, I definitely work more now when I can. You know,
yeah,
I
yeah,
do
yeah,
like some fire scry and magic or something like that. But if it's like I really love extreme weather, and then I would like to go out and sort of like absorb and channel all that energy into something.
yes, yeah, 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 yeah. We don't get enough sun. Are you enjoying the sun at the moment? I really am. It's just so nice to have some sunshine. And I think, I watch my mood and I really know when it's grey, I get very low, but when the sun's out, I think we all are quite affected by the weather and the elements. I just don't think people realise how much the elements are affecting them, their mental health, their physical health.
Oh, it really does, though,
It
doesn't it?
does, yeah, yeah. But
You know, I think it goes. I notice, like, as it goes sort of like towards, especially like at end of January, February,
mm,
people are much more down in the dumps and
yeah, it's a hard
negative
time.
about everything.
Yeah.
Sick of the winter by then, and then all of a sudden spring erupts, and everybody's like, ah,
Everybody's in a really good mood. Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
nice to see,
So
isn't it?
there's evidence there in itself that we are part of the great network, aren't we? And these
Well,
elements are us. We're being moved by these elements, and that connection's there.
yeah, and don't you? And we are, aren't we? You know,
Mm.
you're completely right. Yeah, I've been on this planet nearly 55 years now, and every single time, all those years, I see like a snowdrop, the first snowdrop coming.
Mm.
Just like it blows my mind. I'm just
Yeah.
like, every single time.
So much gratitude. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you give daily gratitude?
To nature usually I will, yeah. If I walk, I don't walk as much as I do at the moment, but I will if I'm in nature. I'll stop and smell the roses, so to speak.
Yeah, I think it's really important. You know, I try and encourage people to do like daily gratitude
Mm,
in a genuine sort of way, because sometimes I think I come across or have come across so many negative people over the years, and
yeah.
everything's like a yeah, but like all negative and just, but people forget that what they have got, even really really little things,
Mm,
there's everything to be grateful for as long as you do it in a genuine manner rather than
yeah.
reading off a
Oh,
list.
absolutely, absolutely. And again, going back to nature, we all we have to do is take a step outside and go and observe the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, and there's so much. It's a whole other universe, isn't it? And there's so much beauty, even in the darker months,
Yeah.
even in the winter. There's so much beauty in nature.
Oh yes, absolutely. If you, I remember climbing up this. It was Scarfell Pike. With in God, it was awful. It was like raining, wind, and everything. And my friend and I we were training to do Kilimanjaro, so we were like going up there, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
And but we had all the walking kit on, the hiking kit,
Mm.
and we just stopped because we were on our hands and knees. It was so windy and raining, and we said, "Well, just let." I said to my friend, "Let's relax our faces now. Realize that it's not that bad. Embrace it." And he's like, "You're mad," but we did. And then once you relax yourself, you know, as long as you've got warm clothes on. It was absolutely amazing, and we felt so invigorated afterwards. Like, yeah, nature's a powerful force.
Yeah, it can charge us, can't it? It can charge us up, and it can renew, and it's that connection that I think we all need more of. Not that I can speak for everybody, but I'm sure we all need more of.
We do need more of it because it makes your heart sing. It really does. You know, when I first moved here, it's sort of this tiny little village. There's a woman next door who's a shepherdess.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
she's a proper farmer woman, like, you know, and she called us over to help with this mum sheep who was in the middle of giving birth to this lamb.
Oh, wow.
And so myself and Hannah, who owns the shop, we were holding this poor mum lamb down, sheep down, because she wanted to bolt off. And there's the shepherdess is like giving, you know, sort of like pulling this lamb out. It was like really emotional, I'll tell you. And then when the lamb was actually born, it was one of the most emotional experiences of my life. Like, and I thought, I can't cry in front of this shepherdess woman, like, you know, but it was beautiful. And all of a sudden, everything was just like a dreamy. You know, we were like completely connected, and we just, you know, sort of like birthed something, like, you know, a creature. It was amazing.
Yeah, yeah. That moment of connecting through to the other worlds, almost. This being's come through from the other side. It must have been magical. I suppose all birth is magical, isn't it? I mean, it's that realization and that experience of something coming through from the other side, and it's real. It's here. The portal's open.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was like. It was unbelievable, and I'll never forget it. It was,
Yeah.
my friends laugh at me when I tell this story over, but it was just so moving, honestly, and to be part of like creation of what, you know, coming into this liminal space was amazing.
Yeah, fabulous.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
You follow me, don't you? Have you been through my photographs? Did you see the fox in my bed talking about animals?
No. Have you had a fox in your bed?
Literally. I'm sorry, but you can cut this out if you like.
No, go on. What
My,
happened?
this wasn't some weird dream or anything. It was my eldest daughter.
It actually happened.
So we were out. This is only last year. We were out at a Van Morrison gig at Boston, the Arboretum, and we came back late. We'd had a few tequilas when we were out, and I was looking for my cat Sherlock, and because I left the back door open, and Lizzie, my daughter, said, "Oh, I'll go and have a look upstairs for him." And then I saw my cat at the back door, and I thought, "Oh, that's strange," and he wouldn't come in. And then my daughter shouted down, she was like, "Mum, there's a fox in your bed." And I'm just like, "What?"
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I was thinking, I thought it was going to be a massive, great big thing, but we crept up there, and it was this little fox cub, and it stuffed all my duvet up and made himself a little nest, and he was sleeping. And it took us ages to get him out.
Oh, but you didn't want to.
Yeah, have a look on my
I'll have a look.
social
That's
media.
so
It's
cute.
so funny.
Wonderful. Right. Well, is there anything you want to share with the viewers about what you're up to recently? Any point people in the right direction to find out what they can work with you with, or how they can work with you, anything like that?
Well, if anybody's in Gloucester area, you come and see us in the shop. That's Cauldron. God, I can't even say it. Cauldron Creations in Gloucester by the cathedral, and it's really beautiful in there. We do lots of workshops and what have you. Personally, I'm wanting to sort of get my art out there a bit more now. I think this is the first time I've done art, you know, for years and years, all my life, but this is the first time I've been keeping hold of the originals and actually getting prints done.
Okay.
So I'm really excited about that, and what I'm doing is like a series of like deities. But then I woke up this morning thinking, oh, I want to do a siren. Like, so I'd probably do some mythological sort of, or elementals and things like that as well. So yeah, you can find me at Mooncap Magic 13 on Instagram, or it's just under Karen Maloney on Facebook. Yeah, just drop me a
Fabulous.
line or just
Yeah.
come and visit us. It'd be lovely to see.
Okay. Yeah, lovely. And I'll share the links on the video in the at the end as well. So thank you so much for joining me, Karen. It's been great
Oh, thank you
speaking
for
to
having
you.
me.
No worries.